Hey, it's Maren, and this is the weekly forecast for September 29th through October 5th of 2019. So first we will look at the tarot spread for the week ahead, then we'll look at the astrology and the transits, and finally we will look at the oracle deck to see what guidance comes through with that. So we'll start with a Celtic cross spread, laying all the cards out here to begin. So I have a really beautiful spread of all the cards here in my Dark Angels Tarot deck, and we'll go ahead and start with the first card, which represents the situation at hand. So we have the Two of Pentacles as the card representing the situation at hand, and this card involves juggling multiple things at once, realizing that not everything can be the priority, and I think we're figuring out what exactly is our first priority and weeding things down, weeding our commitments down. Look at the second card, which is the complement or cross to that. So we have the Nine of Wands, and the Nine of Wands is signifying, I think, with this, that we have to put some force behind choosing and winding down our commitments. We have to understand what effort is required in order to say no, in order to have more powerful yeses to the things that we are agreeing to. The third card represents the potential for the situation. And we actually have the Five of Wands, which is overall a good card to be getting for the potential of the situation, because basically there's ambition. There is drive of actually pursuing the thoughts that we find fun and enjoyable and following our bliss if we weed things down. Fourth card is the reason for the reading, and this is really interesting. We have the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords can deal with feeling trapped by your own mind, or like your mind is racing and that's the self-imposed bondage going on. So I feel like we feel overwhelmed by so many things going on at once. And it's so funny because I'm doing this like as a collective reading, and this is all like, yeah, this is about me, but I mean, that's what happens when you open up the universe. So we feel self-imposed boundary by the overcommitments of our own mind. The fifth card deals with the past that we've recently come out of, and we have the Fool. And the Fool is associated generally with the planet Uranus. It has to do with starting anew and having kind of like nowhere else to fall back on. Like, we have the slate clean, we have nothing left to lose, and not in a bad way, in like a beautiful way of like, yeah, we really have stepped into the new paradigm of who we're going to be. I know with past readings, it's been about figuring out what is the best course of action, and now it's like, okay, we've stepped into so much new, how do we focus in? The future is represented by the sixth card, and we have the King of Cups, and this is actually a really cool card. I'm into this reading. It's a cool card to be pulling for the future because the King of Cups is going after filling your own emotional cup. I think we're in the driver's seat this week. It actually is a week about making the decisions to follow what we know will bring us the most joy and be that initiator, be that like assertive, forward-thinking, yang energy in this case. The fourth card is us in the situation. We have the Four of Wands, and this has to do with finding harmony and balance in a goal, like actually getting to a place of equilibrium through what we're pursuing. So I think once we figure out what we're weeding out and what we're saying no to, we will feel more aligned and in control, in equilibrium, of steadiness in our yes. The eighth card is our influences, the environment around us for this. And we have the Lovers, the sixth card, which has to do with Gemini. So whether or not it's a romantic relationship, we're being supported by those we're in close proximity to. We're being held and supported by those we're in union with to make those no's. So for the ninth card, which is our hopes and our fears, we have the Nine of Swords reversed. And this again has to do with self-imposed bondage of us going after things, but maybe we keep putting ourselves into the same boxes, the same situations of imprisonment over and over. So our hope is that we'll break free of that, and our fear is that we'll keep doing that. So the 10th card is the Outcome, and we have the Strength card reversed. Strength has to do with a Leo, and when I see it reversed, I think of the time to unleash it and let it all go. Upright, it can deal with the strength of restraining strength. Reverse, it kind of means like, do your thing, lay down the lines that you need to lay down, and don't so much worry about holding back. So with that being said, we'll put the cards away and look at the astrology for the week. So starting on Sunday the 29th, we have a Moon-Venus conjunction in Libra, and that's really beautiful because Venus is at home in Libra, the Moon is kind of the emotional tides of the collective. So Sunday morning starts out with a really beautiful upliftment of harmony, especially in relationships. Sextile to Jupiter, so an opportunity for upliftment with others as well. Later in the day though, around midday, there's a Moon-Pluto square, so watch out for control dynamics emerging or wanting to underhandedly manipulate or avoid being manipulated. Solutions might emerge later that day because there's a Moon-Mercury conjunction, so our thoughts might come into alignment with what we want. Monday the 30th, the Moon is at... This tag is always poking me. Monday the 30th, the Moon will be in Scorpio, so the Moon is at its fall there, so expect maybe some more emotional crises than usual, or the tides to be a bit harsher than you would like. It might also raise suspicions because there's a Venus-Pluto square, which just emphasizes paranoia in relationships or being worried about dynamics in relationships not being truthful or authentic enough. So grapple with your own values instead of speculating over someone else's. Like, always relate it back to yourself and interrogate yourself into clarity instead of interrogating someone else into like insanity. Tuesday the 1st is a bit better because the Scorpio Moon will trine Neptune, so might wake us up to the depths, still in the depths, but more in the depths of our dreams, like getting really to the bottom of what we want and what we desire at our highest level. The Moon will then sextile Pluto, so that's an aspect of opportunity to lean even more into the intensity, to use it to our best interest. If you're wanting to harness creativity for a really deep project you're working on, it's good to do that on Tuesday. And then use the remainder of the day to remain receptive, to remain open to thoughts and feelings, because there aren't any major aspects for the rest of the day. Wednesday the 2nd, Pluto stations direct. So Pluto has been retrograde for the past few months, indicating that the planet of transformation and rebirth and crises has been wanting us to look back at the transformations and rebirths that have happened. And now that it's moving forward, expect new crises, breakthroughs, and rebirths to start happening again and look forward to in whatever house Capricorn is in your chart. The Moon also moves into Sagittarius, which is a breath of fresh air, waking us up with optimism and an upliftment through this metamorphosis to look on the bright side. The Moon trines Chiron as well, so it opens us up to the healing potential of going through this rebirth. Thursday the 3rd, Mercury enters Scorpio, so this asks for direct, authentic communication instead of any sweeping under the rug or people-pleasing. Like, starting Thursday, like, get to the bottom of your shit, basically. Mars enters Libra, and that is the position of its exile because Mars rules Aries, so Mars is then coming through the lens of Venus and Libra, which it has some difficulty doing, so again, there might be a tendency to be passive-aggressive or people-please. Instead, we know what we need to communicate and we're wanting to like go about it the easy way. The Moon square to Neptune doesn't really help us grow a backbone either, so just be careful about pulling things under the wool or not coming and being forthright on Thursday. Friday the 4th, the Moon enters Capricorn, which definitely asks for a practical approach to getting to the bottom of these issues and starting the day anew, like getting sober about what's going on here. And as it squares Mars, we may be irritated with responsibility on our shoulders. The Moon does sextile Mercury and trine Uranus, so we might allow the mind to cleverly come up with solutions of getting around these issues in a new way. Finally, Saturday the 5th, the first quarter moon squares the Libra sun, so it signals that the initial kind of learning or turning point for this season is upon us. Look for what lesson is coming up for you, because that'll be built upon. The moon also sits on the south node, so be careful to let the weight of the past drop past conditioning or past patterns with how you deal with patterns coming up. The Moon-Neptune sextile may ease us out of that and help us look towards what the actual route out of these things are. So overall this week, there definitely is this theme of seeing what actually needs to be divided and severed and the lines that need to be drawn, and making the decision to grow the backbone to do those things. Completely goes along with the tarot of needing to do something and get to the bottom of this shit instead of letting it pile up. Saying no so that you can say more yes to your yes. Got up and got my Work Your Light Oracle deck. We'll do a head, body, heart spread here. Pulling a card for Maren the red jasper. It's Mars Day. I'm filming this on a Tuesday, so I wear my red jasper. Good for the root chakra too. Anyway, we will pull a head, body, heart spread here to round out the week ahead. Ooh, I like this one. Okay, so for head, we have inner temple, devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. I've never pulled this card before, so let's see what the little book has to say. You're being called to be a devoted student and tune into your heart. All the questions, all the answers to the questions that you seek are waiting for you. So the action that's associated with this is committing to a daily devotional practice. I think that part of what we need to say yes to is picking up a structure for our own life and our own spiritual path that supports us and allows the mind to serve us rather than own us. So for heart, or for body, we have the protection card of call back your power, cut the cords, soul retrieval. Let's see what this card says as well. I don't think I pulled this one. So this card is about pulling back any lost soul fragments and cutting cords and attachments that don't serve you, which physically might have to do with letting people go out of your life or no longer continuing on relationships that you know are not a yes for you and aren't in complete alignment. You know, Libra season can teach us discernment. If it's not 100%, if it's not 100% yes, it's a hell no. And for heart, we have leap. You go first, the universe will catch you. Work your light action, you go first, take a good run up and leap. I think this means just going for it and cutting the cords so that you can say more of a yes to what serves you, using the decisive Mercury and Scorpio energy to still cut the cord with the diplomacy of the Mars and Libra, and trusting that doing your highest good is also for the highest good of the other people's highest selves. So I hope this was helpful. If you did find it helpful, like, subscribe, do all the things. I do offer private astrology consultations down below and would love to read for you. Otherwise, I will see you next week.